Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's training. This is the ProjectSight Summer Training Series. This is our second out of 3 that we are doing this summer, and today is going to be on change management with Ricky Stevens, Solutions Architect with ProjectSight. So she is going to be taking you through the training today, but just a couple quick items. So if you have questions, type them into the GoToWebinar control panel. We'll try to get to them throughout. We'll get to them at the end. We'll try to address them when we can. If for whatever reason we don't get an answer to your question today, we will be sure to follow up and make sure that we get it to you. And we are recording today's presentation. We'll post it to the training video library. So if you have any colleagues or anybody that was hoping to attend that wasn't able to, we have got you covered. So I'm going to switch it over to Ricky. And she will get us started.
Okay.
All right.
So did the screen change? Can you see my slide?
Yep, we see, yep, the title slide.
Alrighty. So today we are going to focus on change management, and actually we're going to focus on a very specific piece of change management. So I'm going to walk you through a quick change management workflow so you understand how it works within ProjectSight. And then we're going to do some sample potential change orders, basically focusing on an owner-initiated change, a contingency allowance change, and a back charge. So this will allow you to see different ways that you can put your changes into the system. Then I have a slide that has some helpful links that are going to take you to the ProjectSight help. So if you have questions and you get stuck, you know where to go to find those solutions. And then we will wrap up with some questions and answers at the end, and then let you get back on your day. So the first thing I have here is a workflow. And you'll notice on this slide a complex change management workflow. And we can accommodate this in ProjectSight. We can track everything, that initiating document. It could be an RFI, it can be a daily report, it can be meeting minutes, anything that sparks an idea of, hey, this could affect our job. It's going to make a change to it. And then that's going to kick off that potential change order and take you through the process. And then depending on the type of change, determines which of these little flows you need to go through. But you don't have to have this much complexity around your changes. You can have a very simple change management workflow. So if that first one was too busy for you, there's too much going on, you just want to be able to come in, you want to log your change, issue the change order, and get out there, we can do that as well. So the nice thing about ProjectSight is it's going to allow you to adjust to fit your processes and what you need out of the system. So today, our primary focus is actually going to be what you see here on the right-hand side of the screen. It's understanding those allocations, because this is what makes the changes different. How are you allocating the funds? When are you affecting the budget side? When are you affecting the cost side? When do you have to do the potential or the prime contract change order? So understanding that and understanding what those cost allocations do will help you better manage your budget and your change process within the system. So just to re-emphasize what we're going to look at, the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through an owner-initiated change. We have one set up in here where the owner has requested some additional light switches be added to the system. But this could also be they want to change the type of tile that's in the conference room, or they want to add additional scope to the things. Anything that's going to be initiated by the owner would be treated this way. Then we're going to do a contingency or an allowance change. And in this change, you're going to use money that's already in your budget. So it's going to allow you to, this is something that we missed the scope. It should have been in our initial thing, but we made a mistake, so we're going to use our allowance. Or if you didn't have things fully flushed out, but you had that cushion in there saying, okay, we didn't have 100% drawing, so we built in a contingency. Here's for our like electrical work. How do you use that money in doing your change orders? And then the final one is going to be that back charge. And I set up a scenario where the electrical sub damaged some walls that's going to have to be corrected by our drywall subcontractor. So how do I key that into the system? Because that's essentially going to be a $0 change order, but it does affect those subcontracts. So now I'm going to jump out of PowerPoint and you get to see the live project. It's always much more fun to see. Whoops. There we go. And bring up. So now we have ProjectSight open. So we are logged into ProjectSight into our Westminster campus as Jack Clifton. He is our project manager. And his focus today is going to be solely on those changes. So you can see here, he's got all of his changes, his widgets on his dashboard because he's the cost person. He wants to know what's happening on there. He can easily see the status of the various changes in his project. You can easily come in here if you wanted to go in and look at those that are all ready for review. He can just click on his widget here and take a look at what's happening. But we're going to come in and we're going to look at these 3 items here that he has that need his attention. So from here, I can click on the first item here. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to open it up and it's going to bring up my asbestos removal change. So this is one that is an owner change because of a field condition. So what happened here, we can see that it's saying that some asbestos was found on the 3rd floor in our cafeteria. So this is not something that was in our scope. It was not planned. And since it is an unforeseen condition, you can do a couple different things with it. You can use a contingency thing, or you can come in and you can charge the owner. Since this was a cost plus job, we're going to bill this back to the owner. This was additional work that you didn't ask us for. So we want to go in and figure out what we need to do. So the first thing we have here is, of course, that asbestos removal. We've got to take it out. So we've added a line item here for asbestos removal, and we put in $12,000 into our estimated cost. So that's how much we think it's going to cost. So it's my best guess. I haven't asked anybody to give me pricing yet. I don't know what's going to happen. Then we have an abatement plan. So we need to figure out what's going on. We need someone to spearhead everything that needs to go into it. And that one is going to be, we're going to do that in-house and do those that work. And then we have the wall replacement because we're going to have to replace that wall where the asbestos was found. Now, each of these line items are tagged to their corresponding codes. So we've got it sitting there and we've got it tagged to approximate revision. So what approximate revision does when you're looking at your allocations, approximate revision is going to just let you know, I'm guessing. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I know it is going to affect my budget. It's going to cost more money. The owner is going to pay for it. What's happening? And then I've got my pending revision down here at the bottom. That's when we get our hard numbers and we know exactly what we're doing. If it wasn't going to affect anything, then I could have done this no allocation. So for right now, we're going to leave it an approximate, but I'm going to come in and I'm going to decide who needs to give me pricing for each of these items. So for the first row, I'm going to click on it, and I don't have an asbestos person in-house that does this, and none of my subcontractors deal with asbestos. So I need to get pricing from someone outside my organization or outside my current project team. So what I can do is I can come over here and I'm going to click add. And it's going to allow me to come in here and choose anyone on my project team. But as I said, I don't have anybody. So I can come in and say, okay, I need to get pricing from someone else within my database. So I can open this up. This is going to allow me to see everybody that's out there. And I'm going to say, okay, I want to reach out to let's do Alan. So I'm going to reach out to Alan. And I need to get some pricing from him. Now, right now, all it says up here is asbestos removal. I need to remove the asbestos, but I need to give him some more details. So what you can do is you can come down here and say, please review the attached items and provide pricing. So now I'm asking him for pricing. And now what I can do is I can come in here and I can add an attachment. I can come in, if I already have the documentation up in the system, I can just browse to it, or I can upload a totally new document. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to my sample. So I have a document here Whoops. So I'm going to add my letter where I've given him all the details. And the reason I'm adding it here is so now Alan's going to get a notification along with my comments asking him to give me pricing, and then I can send it out. Now, if you've got your security set up, he's not going to see that I think it's going to cost $12,000. This is going to allow him to come in. He can upload his pricing. If I give him the rights, he can key in that proposed amount so I know what to go back to the owner with. And then I can click done. And I can repeat that with each of the 3 pieces here. So we knew that abatement, we're doing that in-house. So we know it's going to cost about $1,200. So I can go on and put in a proposed amount there. Wall replacement, well, that's going to go to our drywall contractor. So for that, I want to assign that to someone completely different. So here I can come in here and I can assign that to Bob, who is already in our system. He works for EE Blossom, so I can go ahead and associate it. I can also associate it to his contract. Oops, I haven't written his contract. I chose a bad person there, but I could associate with his contract and then send it out. And then I could repeat the process I just did. So what happened there is I've now have 3 items. I've asked 2 different subs to give me pricing. I'm pricing, one of them's internal, I'm keeping it with me. And now I can keep tabs of what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and for this one item where I know that this is my pricing, I know that's going to be about $1,200. I can go ahead and update this to that pending status. And then I'm going to do whatever I do to the budget side, I also do to the cost side when I'm doing an owner initiated change. So here I'm going to do this to pending commitment. So what this means is when I just choose pending revision and pending commitment, it's going to add to that line item. So it's going to automatically increase or decrease if you put a negative amount, what's going on. Now with the others, I'm waiting for the pricing to come in. Now ideally, you're going to go through, they're going to come in, they're going to upload their numbers and key it into the system. So we're going to pretend that we already received that information. They came in, they logged in their information. The asbestos isn't going to be quite as pricey as we thought it was. It's only going to be $10,750. And the wall replacement, that's going to cost a little more than we intended. We're going to say it costs $9,500. So when I do that, what happens is now it's moved from estimate to proposed. So I've keyed it into my proposed amount. So I still have that history. This is what I thought it was going to cost. That's still there. Now I've got my proposed amount, and the applied amount has updated itself to reflect my most recent numbers. So now I can go in and I can ask for pricing from my owners. But before I do that, I need to put my markups on there. The owner's paying for this, but I'm the administrator, I've got fees, I've got overhead. I need to put that on there before I send this over to the owner. So I come in and I click my default markups, and it's going to automatically calculate my markups for me. So you can see it came in, it automatically put those amounts in there. And now what I want to do is I want to come in and I want to update all of these to show pending. So I can come in and I can update them one at a time if I wanted to. So I can come in and change those one at a time. That can be a little cumbersome at times. You can also, if you click on the top item and select pending commitment and then do control and the down arrow, it will automatically update all of the columns. So you can do one and then update everything, or you can change them one at a time, whatever helps you to be more efficient within the program. So once I've done that, I'm going to click Save. And you have a choice at this point. You can send this potential change order directly to the owner. So if I want the owner to come in and just see this PCO, I can do that. And all I do is I come in and I can assign the PCO itself to the owner to come in here and review. If I don't want the owner to see all the back and forth that was going on with the contractor, so I don't want him to see the conversations that I'm having with my sub, the negotiation that's going back and forth here, then I can use a change order request. And what that's going to allow me to do is when I come in, I can close out of my potential change order. And you'll notice when I did that, because I opened my PCO from my home page, it's now disappeared over here because I just took care of it. And it brings me right back to where I started. So if I want to go in and create that COR, now I would click on my budget and cost management, and it's going to bring me into my module. So from here, I can click on a change order request, and I can add that new item. So this is for the asbestos. And there's my light switches. I forgot to undo it before the presentation, so that's why that one didn't show up first. I apologize. So we're going to click add, and we were just looking at asbestos, and we were looking at the one that had money in it. There we go. So I can click on that, and it's going to bring over our information. Now this is that summary level information. So now I can come in and I can assign it to my owner. So Bill is my owner in this project. Okay, let's find Bill. Okay, so I want the billings group. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, Les is my owner. There we go. So now I've got Les in here, and I can assign a due date. And now he's going to get a notification that there's a change. I can add my additional information here. This was an owner directive. If I'm asking for additional days, I can do that. And then say, okay, now it's ready for Les to come in here and approve it. Now, if you don't want to give your owners access to the system, you just want to send it out, we can do that as well. So at this point, what you can do is you can come in and you can choose your report. So if I wanted to say, okay, I want to send over a detailed change order request, I can do that, and then I can just email it directly out of the system. So it's going to allow me to send it to Les, asking him for approval. Now you'll notice when we're on the COR, it's telling you, I've got my proposed amount. This is how much I told the owner that I'm willing, that it's going to cost. And then there's also an approved amount that says this is what the owner agreed to pay. So when the owner comes back, hopefully he's going to agree to pay the entire amount. And he's going to give you the full $23,198.18. But sometimes he's like, no, that's too much. I'll only pay a smaller amount. So when that happens, you have a couple of options. So if you come in, I can click on this link, and it's going to open that PCO back up for me. And it's going to bring me right back where I was a few minutes ago. In the approved amount, I can come in and say, well, the owner only agreed to give me $10,000, not $10,750. He did agree to pay the full $1,200 here, and here he's only going to give me $9,000. And what happens is on the cost side, it automatically matches what I did on the budget side. So you have a choice here. You can go back to the subs and negotiate and say the owner only agreed to pay for this much, so that's all I'm going to pay you. So talk them down to that lower amount, or you can find the money from somewhere else in the system. So that can be your contingency or an allowance, or pull it out of your fee. So there's a lot of different ways that you can handle it. So what we're going to do in this instance is we're going to come in here, and on the budget side, we do have to manually update our budget allocation. So I'm going to come in here and use that shortcut from before. So I'm going to take it to approved revisions and move it all the way down. So now the budget side has been approved. The owner said, this is what I'm going to pay you. He's given us the money. But the cost side has not. You'll notice everything is still, whoops, I didn't mean to change that one. The cost side is still in pending because we actually have to execute the change orders in order to take that to the approved side. So what we can do now is we're going to save this and click done, and it's going to bring us back into our COR. And now you can see this is what we proposed. This is what the owner agreed to pay. So it automatically updates your information. And then this can carry forward into your prime contract change order. And then I can click done, and it's going to bring me back to my initiating page. So to finish this out, now I can come in and it's like, okay, what do I need to do in order to close out the process? I need to execute those subcontract change orders. And it helps if I remember who I assigned the change order to. I had the light switches all geared up this morning, and then I went to asbestos.
And Ricky, we have a couple questions, so when you're ready to, I
Okay.
can read them off to you. Just let me know.
Yeah, so let me go over into, so yeah, if you want to go ahead and ask the question before I finish the.
Sure. So the first question is, if I invite multiple subs to submit pricing, will they see comments back and forth with other subs?
No, they will not. So within the system, so where on this one I assigned 2 different subs to my, let me open it up. So here I had 2 different subs assigned here plus me, or an internal person. So the people that work for Lakewood Construction, who Jack works for, they can see everything because they own the portfolio. They own this project. So they're always going to be able to see everything. But this item here that I assigned to Alan, when Alan logs in, he only sees the one line item. He doesn't know that the other line items existed. So he's not going to see anything else that's in here. And then depending on how you set up your security, you could hide all of these numbers here. So if you don't want them keying in any dollar amounts, you don't want them seeing any of this, we can turn that off, and you could just let them give you comments and then upload their quotes. So you can control the level of access that you give them. But this allows them to, they do the legwork. They can upload the documents, they put it in, and then all you have to do is come in and key the proposed amount in and then take it over. Now, with Alan, we don't have a contract with Alan. Remember, this was that asbestos one. So we can't write a change order if we don't have a contract. So what I'm going to do here is, he agreed, yeah, we can do it for 10,000. It's a little slow right now. We need the work. So I can come in here, and with this one, I am going to still leave it at, I'm going to take it from pending revisions, and I'm going to go to the approved, whoops, I'm sorry, that one's right. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to actually move it back to uncommitted cost. And the reason I'm going to do that is because now I'm going to go in, I'm going to generate a PO for the work, or I'm going to generate a contract. And by doing this, it's adding that money back into, it's going to take it out of pending revisions, and it's just going to add it to my uncommitted cost. So now I can go write a brand new contract or a PO for them to come in and do the work. Since I'm not going to be executing a change order because I don't have a contract to this person. But my wall replacement guy, my drywall guy, I do have a contract with him. He's already out there. So with him, I can come in here and I can associate it. We're going to take away E. Blossom because he's not who I had the contract with. I can associate, I know I have drywall in here. Oops. Oh, I thought I had drywall in there. We'll do acoustical ceilings. So I can link that one to a contract. So then for that, you actually generate the contract change order, the subcontract change order, and then it's going to take it to approved revisions. So we treated them differently. The first line item, because we asked a trade vendor that is not in the system to give us pricing, we've kept that at pending or at uncommitted cost. But the vendor that we do have a contract with, we're going to go in there. So now we see the contract number. We can go in there and generate that subcontract change order, and then it's going to take it to the final phase, which is the approved cost revisions. So I know it took a little bit of time on that. The next two are going to be a little bit faster. I'm just going to highlight the changes and the allocations. But did we have another, you said there was another question specifically on the owner changes?
Yeah, there was, and forgive me if you answered this a little bit before. I just want to make sure. I'm curious about the difference between linking the comment versus linking to the record. Will the assigned owner or sub see both or only links in the comments?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So when I linked that one attachment and I made comments here at the item level, then the only person that can see this and can see the attachments done here, so you see a link that's there, or the people that have access to this particular line item. So other subs can't see it. They don't see the comments that are in there. If I've assigned the owner at the COR level, not the PCO level, then the owner's not going to see it either. Now, if I put an attachment at the PCO level, so that's here, and I can see it is linked to something, so I can see it's linked to a COR, but it's also linked to an RFI. So this is how we found out about that asbestos. Everyone can see the links here. So if the people giving us pricing want to know, well, what initiated this, I need more information, they'll be able to see that it's linked to an RFI, and they can go in and see that RFI. Same thing would go with attachments. If I added attachment at this level, which is the record level as a whole, then they're going to come in and everyone that has access to it can see it. So item level, only the people on those line items can see it. At the record level, everyone that has access to the record can see it. Okay, so I
we had
know
one more just sneak in.
one
I'll
more.
ask you real quick. Yeah. How do you set up the default markups?
How do you set the, all right. So those are in your project settings. So if you don't have, when you're on this home page, if you don't see this little gear, then you don't have access to project settings. So within project settings, you go to project settings and then record settings, PCOs, and you'll see default markups. And so if you don't see that, then reach out to whoever your project site administrator is, and you can ask them to give you rights to get in there and do that, or you can tell them what you want their markups to be. And you can have up to 6 levels of markups, I think is what you're allowed. And it goes in and it automatically calculates your percentages for you. Okay, so let me just walk you very quickly through these last 2 potential change orders, and then I'm going to share the links and then we'll answer the more questions because I know we only have about 15 minutes left. So with this second PCO I have geared up here, this one is removing some light switches. So on this one, I have a couple of decisions to make. With this, I can see the contractor installed the light switches in the wrong location. So this should be a back charge, or it's going to be a $0 change order. So I would probably do a $0 change order because it's not costing us any additional money, but we are holding him accountable for it. So we do need to issue a change order and say, hey, you need to do this. I have a true back charge that we can do in just a minute. But what this allows me to do is, because I've added a line item telling him to move the switches, now I can pull this over into a change order. And even though it's $0, it's giving him instructions. Sparky Electric is going to be notified, you made this mistake, you need to do this. And if it were going to cause a construction delay and you needed to add charges to him because he's holding up the project, then you could add another line item. Now this one would not get markups because we're not marking up, I mean, 0 on 0 is still 0. With the budget allocation, I would come in here at this point and I would say no allocation because it's not doing anything on our budget side. And cost side really doesn't matter because, again, it's a $0 change order. We're just going to be notifying them that you need to perform this work, you caused the damage, and we're going through. So you can do a $0 change order. And actually, we'll go in and we'll create that one. So let's go into our budget and cost. And when I come in and see Sparky, oh, I'm in change orders. I thought I hit. So now I can look up Sparky. Electrical, there's our electrical work. I could say we want to move the switches. And even though it's $0, I can still bring it in. And whoops, that's one for actual work. There's our $0. Which one of these is? Apparently we've been doing a lot with Sparky today. All right, there we go. Oh, that's another, that's the, well, I thought I had the proper one all keyed up. It was that one there. Number 15. So you could bring in, now I can come in and do, we're going to leave this open this time. Now I can write my change order. So there we go. We wanted to move the switches. And it was PCO number 15. Now we've got our $0 change order. So now I can come in and say it was a change order. No cost, sub error. Now I can save it. And if I come back into my PCO and I refresh, you'll see that it will now take that. And now it took it to approved commitment. So even though it's a $0, now no changes can be made. It's locked. It's linked to that change order, and it's no cost to us. So you have that capability as well. So when you need to do a $0 change order, you're still going to do a line item because you want to be able to go in on your budget and see everything that's happened for that budget code. So you still want to have that line item in there, and this is going to allow you to take it all the way through to the subcontract change order. Now the last one that I had on here was a back charge where one sub damaged work done by another sub. So this one is also a $0 change order. And what I've done here is I like to balance everything out. So I always key in my dollar amounts on the budget side. It automatically populates the cost side. And I can see here, I thought it was going to cost about $2,500, but it ended up, the drywall sub told me it's going to cost $2,575. So I've keyed that in. And what I've done is on this top line item, I'm taking money away from the electrical subcontractor and I'm giving it to the drywall person because the electrical sub damaged the walls when he was working on the lights. I've got that noted up here in my notes. And so he's going to pay for the other vendor to do it. So on the budget side, it says negative for the electrical sub and positive for the drywall, but I've put no budget allocation because we're not doing anything to the budget. We're not increasing it. We're not doing anything. We are just going to take money out of Sparky Electric's contract and we're going to give it to our other contractor. So now when I come over on the cost side, this is where I see the difference. So here I've done a negative amount to Sparky Electric. So we're going to take away the money from him and we're going to add it to our other contractor. So two different cost codes. We've got the electrical cost code here. We're removing the money on the cost side, and we've got our drywall contractor here. Now with this pending commitment, you want to make sure you're not doing use approximate or use pending. We want to make sure it's pending commitment because we're not using what's there. We're just moving it from one and putting it onto the other. So this allows me to easily come in here and do that $0 change order or $0 overall change, but it's going to be a negative to one sub and it's going to be a positive to the other. And then I just do my subcontract change order and I take it all the way through. And I missed one because I said contingency and I actually did two back charges. So I have a contingency one in here. Here we go. So I had a joint alignment one. So this one is going to allow me to use funds that are already in my system. So here I've got that there was we made a mistake out on the job site, and we need to correct it at our own expense. So we're going to use our contingency funds. You could also use allowances or however you've set up your budget. So what this does is you can see on the budget side, I say no allocation, because I'm not increasing my budget, I'm not decreasing my budget, I'm using money that's already there. But what happens is the allocation on the cost side, this is when you use that use uncommitted cost. So down here, I can use uncommitted cost pending. And what that's going to do is it's going to take money away from that cost code. And then when I write, and it's going to decrease the amount of money I now have in my contingency fund. So by doing no allocation on the budget, I'm not doing it, I'm not increasing, decreasing, I've still got it there. I'm just going to decrease the amount that I have on the cost side. Now, if you want, I have seen some people that like to actually move it out of contingency and then move it over into that other code. You can do that if you want to. If you want to show that, if you want everything to, like if this work is going to be done by Sparky Electric, I can move it out of this code and I can add it over into my electrical code if you want to track it that way. Or you can just track it on the contingency code, and then Sparky Electric's change order would reference that contingency code because that's where the money came from. So it's just a matter of how do you want to track your contingency. So you have a lot of flexibility within ProjectSight to track it the way that fits your processes and the way that you are using the budget within the system and what makes the most sense for you. Now, a couple of quick links that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to go back into that PowerPoint. So let me jump over here real quick, and we will be sending this to you so you will have it. I've got 3 links that are in here, and they take you into the help system. And the help system in ProjectSight is very comprehensive. And we have got some wonderful charts in there that can help you when you're learning the system. It's like, how do I use these allocations? And when do I use this? And when do I use that? So within here, there's going to be a hyperlink. And when you click on it, it's going to bring you into ProjectSight Help to these lovely charts. So now you've got here, it explains all of those allocations that I just went through very, very quickly. So first you've got this went to the cost allocations. You've got your budget allocations as well. So when do I use this? When do I use that? And then at the bottom of this, you've also got how these different allocations affect my budget columns. So if you're trying to understand all of those many columns that you have over in the budget form, this is going to tell you, when I do this, these are the column that it's going to affect. So you have that at your fingertips. So now you can always get at this by clicking help directly from within a PCO. It's going to bring you in, but the links in the PowerPoint that we'll be sending out are going to bring you directly to these charts. So I've got one here for understanding those allocations. I've got one for understanding the workflow that we just very quickly went through. And then there's another one what was my last one? It was, where did my PowerPoint go? Oh, there it is, budget help. So it just overall, this is how all of those different budget columns work. So you've got these 3 here that are very quick references and good things to just bookmark, so you can go in there and it will help you to better understand the PCO piece and the budget piece of budget and cost management. So I know that was a lot to throw at you in 40 minutes, but if you have any additional questions, then we can go in and take a look at trying to address some of those questions, and I'll bring my ProjectSight back up. So if I need to show you anything, I can do that.
Well, I think it was just the 3 so far. So if anybody else has one, go ahead and type it in, but we're doing great on time. I don't see any more coming in.
This is our Trimble training database. If you ever get stuck and you just want to be invited to a project where you can come in and play, just reach out to our sales staff and tell them, it's like, We saw some great examples in some of these training environments. Can we just have temporary access? And we can do that for you so that you can come in and see how did we do things? How did we key it up? But know that it's flexible and we're here to help you get the most out of the system and to bring your processes into ProjectSight. It is very customizable. We can turn things off, we can simplify, or you saw that one workflow that's very complex. If you have a complex change order process, we can help you bring that into the system too. It is here to make your life easier, not more complicated. So if you're frustrated, go to that help, reach out to us. We are here to make your life better when it comes to managing your construction cost.
Absolutely. Looks like we actually just had one sneak in here. Let's see. What if you want to send a request for pricing out to more than one subcontractor for the same line item? Can you do that, and can they all see the comments?
They would all be able to see the comments. So if you come in, you can assign multiple people. So if I come in and I'll go into a PCO. When you come in, now what you can do is if they're not users in the system, so if you're just getting pricing from people, but they're not actual users in the system, then what you can do is you can come in and let's just choose a random one that we have up here. So we have some light fixtures. So I could come in here, oh, they put earthwork in here. And on this line item, I could actually assign it to, and I'm gonna click this little box. So when you open up the box, you can assign it to multiple people. So I can assign it to Alex, and I can ask Bob and David. So I've got 3 people that I want to give me pricing. Now, if they are users in the system and they log in to the actual record, yes, they can all see everything that's on there. But if they're not, if they're just people you're getting pricing from, then they get that notification and they can reply to a notification with attachments. They can put comments in here, and all of that will be captured within your record. What they can't do is click on the link and open the record and look at it within ProjectSight unless you've made them a user. So I can essentially ask all of them, I add my comments in here, please provide pricing for the attached. And then I add my attachments, and what's going to happen is they're all going to get a notification along with my comments, and then they can just reply to it. Now I can get very wordy in here. It's whatever I put in here, that's what's going to go in the notification. So then they can look at it, they can add an attachment and reply back, and it'll be captured, and they won't see each other's. But if they are all 3 users and they log into the system because they're all 3 tagged to this line item, they will be able to see all comments that are going back and forth on this line item. But they won't be able to see what's going on like on line item 2 because they weren't associated with that. All right, so did that answer the question?
I think so, and I haven't seen any others come in, so I think we're good to wrap up. Thank you so much, Ricky, and thank you everybody for attending.
All right, you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.